Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the Beijing's approach it has taken to counter the air pollution and how effective it has been and how Beijing was successfully able to reduce overall what we can say the level of pollution in the city of the capital city of China. Now, what are the steps that the country has taken and what are the lessons that we can learn? Let us try to understand this in more detail. So first of all, to give you the idea about the particular news and the context of our discussion, so the Beijing, which is the capital city of our neighboring country China, has basically, it has a yearly average AQI, that is air quality index, which is basically a measurement of the air pollution, different pollutants, was as polluted in 2015 as Delhi is today, and Delhi's average is 155 for 2024. However, Beijing has managed to cut its pollution level by 1/3, with the most significant fall spanning between 2013 and 17. Now, this is very interesting to understand because the fight against air pollution, China began somewhere in the 1998, but the most significant, what we can call as the impact of those approach were observed in the last 4 to 5 years between 2013 to 2017. Now, the war against air pollution is what Beijing largely has talked about its approach to fight the air pollution. Now, let us try to understand that how the Delhi and Beijing compares as far as the AQI index or AQI value is concerned. So, if you talk about this particular year, that is 2015, that time you can see that Beijing has overall AQI of 30, while Delhi has the AQI of 170. If we talk about the present year of 2024, we can see Delhi has been able to reduce AQI almost to a negligible level, where it has reached 155, just change of 15 points we can say. On the other hand, if you look at Beijing, it has been able to reduce its AQI value from 130 in 2015 to 92 in 2024. So how it has been able to do so? What is the reason behind the success? Or first of all, why we are discussing and comparing the two cities of Beijing and Delhi. Now, comparison we know that can only be made between two different cities only if the extent of air pollution, the causes of air pollution, and what we can say is the factors affecting them are same. So, is it same? If you look at this particular chart, it seems that it is true indeed. If you talk about the particulate matter 2.5, which is a solid, very microscopic suspended solid particle floating in the atmosphere, largely released due to the construction activities, industrial, we can say effluent, or from the vehicles as well. So if you look at this here and compare 2013 and Delhi figure of 2023, we can see that a motor vehicle in case of Delhi contribute 59% of the PM 2.5. In Beijing also it was very high, 31%. Similarly, the coal or fossil fuel uses are almost same. In Beijing it contributed 22%, in Delhi it contributes 20%. In case of industries, however, in winter month, Delhi's contribution is 0 and here Beijing's contribution was 18%. Industries contribution in Beijing's pollution was 18%. Similarly, construction does 15% and 4%. And then you have the 14-17%, that is the other sources of pollution. However, you talk about the major sources of pollution, there is a lot of similarities between the capital city of India and China. So before coming to the solutions or the approach steps that the Beijing has adopted, let us look at the region that has fueled such a high level of air pollution in the Chinese capital city. It was notoriously infamous for its pollution level. So we know that China, especially after the reform era of Deng Xiaoping, entered a trajectory of high growth phase. High economic growth was witnessed, and this high or rapid economic growth was obviously, it was associated with a rapid rise in the construction, where you have large number of metropolitan urban clusters, urban centers, the buildings were being constructed, large infrastructure projects were being made, industrial development happened at a rapid scale. And you also have, due to the rise in the affluency level of the Chinese population, we see increase in the adoption of the adoption of the what you can call as the vehicles. Now all these have contributed in increasing the level of air pollution. Now, by 2017, if you talk about the energy consumption, which is a very strong measure of the pollution level, it has grown by almost 75% compared to 1998. And most of the industries which were generating energy are dependent upon the coal, and coal is, as we know, is one of the major sources of air pollution as well as carbon dioxide. So rapid increase in urbanization, as we have discussed, you can understand we have development of one of the largest port city in the world, that is Shanghai. Then you have the Guangzhou, then you have the Shenzhen. So many industrial clusters, many industrial centers have developed in China. And most importantly, we talk about the Beijing itself. Rather than just witnessing a rapid growth in its population, in its area, one other problem that the city was facing is because the Beijing lies in the higher latitude. That means the winter are lasting for a longer duration, and there is a need for heating in the residential building, residential houses. And most of people were using coal-based energy or coal-based system for heating purposes, and large amount of particulate matter and soot was being produced by such kind of heating system. So if you combine all this together, obviously this is the region why Beijing was earlier referred as the what you can say the most polluted capital city of the world. Now, what did Beijing do to reduce the pollution level? So first of all, it had mapped a plan that spanned for almost 20 years, that is called as anti-air pollution program, or the war against pollution we have discussed. This basically was divided into three phases. First, between 1998 to 2008, second between 9 to 12, and third, that is 13 to 17. And if you remember, in the beginning of video, I told you that the most significant reduction that has been achieved in the air pollution was in the last phase of this program. Now, one common theme that ran through the entire effort is something that was contrasting, or that is contrasting to the approach that we take in the Delhi, for example. Whenever in winter comes in Delhi, it is the same process that is repeated. Suddenly, the AQI level or pollution level shoots up, and at the same time, a lot of steps are taken. The school and colleges are shut, or you have the odd even policy implemented, or you have the Grab program that is implemented. So basically, this is something that Beijing did not did. Rather, taking an approach of shock and awe, or taking a lot of measures in a very short span of time, it has carefully crafted and slowly built up a plan to reduce the pollution over an extended period of time. And the two most important factors that has helped in Beijing achieving its goal is, first of all, the program was not a kind of top-down program that the government has initiated something or has basically come up with a policy and that was implemented without taking care or without taking into consideration the people itself. So people's participation or bottom-up participation was one of the crux of Beijing's anti-pollution fight. And second, the program was not run by a central agency or by a single agency. Rather, it was autonomously run by the local government. And due to this reason, as the local governments were more able to understand that in their locality what is the major sources of pollution, and they basically have intervened and have adopted and put forward a solution that was tailor-made or suitable for their region. So due to this, you have a diversity of solutions that were adopted, and this at a we can say at aggregated level has led to a successful outcome. So these are the two major basic themes we can associate with the Beijing program. Now the steps, if we try to understand that what were the major steps that were taken by the Beijing. So first of all, as we know, the level or the sources of pollution can be traced back to the automobile or vehicle. Second, it can be traced back to the industries, and third, I told you it can be traced back to the coal-based heating system used by the residential houses. So ultra low emission renovation and clean energy alternatives were something that was adopted and encouraged in the power plant generation, rather than just depending on the traditional fuel-based source, fossil fuel-based sources. Second, elimination of civil bulk coal consumption that were used for residential heating. That was completely banned and eliminated. Rather than you have the gas-based heating system that was adopted. Many places you have electricity-based heating system that was also adopted in many of the buildings. So the pollution generated by the coal consumption that also in the urban areas could be minimized to a significant extent. Second, as far as the vehicle pollution is concerned, especially for those vehicles which were very, very old or public service vehicles such as buses and trams, for them retrofitting was done with a DPF, that is a diesel particulate filter. Now diesel particulate filter plays a very important role because it helps in capturing and preventing the release of soot particles. That is the main what you can call as the component of the particulate matter. So due to this, the PM 2.5 as well as the PM 10 concentration in the atmosphere can also be brought down to a significant extent. Third, emission standards were tightened both for the industries and the vehicles, plus scrapping through subsidies of yellow label vehicles. In Beijing, the yellow label vehicles refer to such kind of vehicles which are older and highly polluting in nature. So such kind of vehicles, rather than just putting a blanket ban that you cannot put such vehicles on the road from tomorrow, Beijing has scrapped this by providing subsidy to the owner of these vehicles, and that also served as a model, or what you can call as an incentive for people to part away with their vehicles. Subway and bus infrastructure was overhauled and expanded at a rapid rate, along with the optimizing of the urban layout. Optimizing the urban layout means that the office areas, which were earlier very far from the residential areas, that was something changed, because due to the large scale distance between the office and residences, a lot of people have to travel, and if they will travel, obviously they will use vehicles, and if they use vehicles, the pollution level will be higher. So the design of urban layout was done in such a way that the office and residential areas could be very close to each other, thus eliminating the need of a long distance travel. Subway and bus infrastructure, as we know, because these are the infrastructure which carry a large number of people from one place to another place. So if these infrastructures are basically providing facility of end-to-end transportation for the people, obviously the need of the personal vehicles can be eliminated, and also the pollution level can be decreased. Now, by taking such steps, if we take a look at what are the what you can say is the progress that Beijing was able to achieve. So as we can see, if you look at the major pollutant in the atmosphere, the sulfur dioxide, which is very hazardous for the health also, human health also. So there we have seen a decline of 83%, again in the time span of 2013 to 2017. Similarly, other sulfur dioxide gases, there we have seen a decline of 43%. VOC, that is the volatile organic compound, such as polyacetyl nitrates, you have benzenes and other kind of what you can call as the organic compounds, their concentration was also decreased to 42%. PM 2.5, which is one of the major sources of pollution today, and also a major irritant for the lung, or what you can call as the respiratory system of the humans, their concentration could also be brought down to 59%. So these were the significant changes that has been made. Now, apart from the steps that we have talked about, what basically acted as a catalyst for, we can call as the rapid change in the air pollution in Beijing, is the financial investment that Beijing has actually done. If you talk about the year between 2009 to 2013, we can see that the financial investment for the air pollution control was hovering between 1.69 to 2.85 billion yuan. However, in the next 4-year period between 13 to 17, we can say it has increased from 2.85 to almost 18 billion yuan. That means almost 9 times increase in the financial investment. That is what the China was able to do, and this is something that is reflecting in the result through which they have been able to take control of the air pollution. So not only just focusing upon the steps just about controlling or limiting the pollution level, they also have invested heavily to ensure that these steps yield the desired result. Now, what are the lessons we can learn for India? So obviously we have discussed that India, if you look at Delhi, it also has very high population density, where many people are commuting a long distance, either to go from work to home or home to work, or for various other purposes. And we have a problem of lack of integration between the bus and the metro. So due to this, what happened? The bus stations are at different places, metro stations are at different places. So unless and until both these are integrated, it will not offer an end-to-end solution for traveling for the people, and people will have no other option but to depend on the private vehicles, or what you can call as the private taxis and the private commercial vehicles. Second, subsidy for scrap program, that is the old vehicle that has been very successful in Beijing, that can be used here. Second, cross subsidization through affordable public transport and expensive private transport. For example, if you are driving an expensive private car, what government can do is they can impose higher taxes, either in the terms of parking fee or road tax, and using those money, then they can use it to subsidize the public transportation. So the cost of public transportation can be further reduced, or improvement in the overall infrastructure in the fleet of the public transportation can be done. So due to this, what will happen? It will discourage people from using the private transportation, and at the same time encourage people to shift to the public transportation. So that is one way how pollution level can also be controlled. And last, an urban layout is needed where places of work and residences are brought closer. Again, the reason, the same rationale is same. It will eliminate the need of long distance commute. So these are the lessons that we can copy or take from the China, tailor fit to suit the demands of India and implement it. Apart from that, energy system of India also needs a serious overhaul. For example, what we can do is promote the clean electricity or clean energy by focusing upon the what we can call as the renewable power energy sources such as tidal energy, wind energy, solar energy. Coordinate with neighboring regions instead of being at loggerheads. For example, if you look at the winter situation in Delhi, what basically happened? Delhi claims that it is because of the stubble burning happening in Punjab, Haryana, that is why Delhi has to face severe pollution. So rather than just blaming the nearby state, these states should come together and take a concerted and coordinated approach to ensure that pollution problem can be decreased or minimized. And the right and the onus also rests on the public as well, because public have the right to fight for clean air. This is something that is a constitutional right guaranteed under Article 21, and the right to living, basically the right to clean air, extends to the right of life, and thus they should hold the government accountable instead of normalizing poor AQIs. For example, you talk about the pollution problem in Delhi or in India. If you talk about, largely it comes into news and people begin to talk about it only in the winter season when pollution level becomes very severe. In other month also pollution level is bad. Okay, if talk about the WHO's standard, AQI of Delhi is all time higher than WHO's limited standard or permitted standard. So rather than focusing upon few months that what should be done, we should have a long-term approach like the China to solve this particular problem. In conclusion, what we can say, that we do not have the limitation of ideas, that we do not know what exactly should be done to curb the pollution. Rather, what experts argue, that it is the lack of political will which is stopping the Delhi from acting, because every year it is the same reel being played, same process is being repeated, where the central government blames the state government blames the central government, or many times they blame the nearby state government. So this is what the government has been involved in. They are just engaged in what we can so from this particular picture, that they are pointing fingers on each other. A blame game is something that is in operation. This you can also understand. Public is blaming the government is blaming the other state government is blaming the central government. So rather than having this kind of antagonistic or conflicting attitude, we should all come together and implement the solution needed for it. The center blames the state and vice versa. That is the point that we have written. So none of them or neither of them seems to be serious or even vaguely interested in solving the problems. So this is what we can understand and try to learn from the Beijing's model. While in last one mains based question, you can try to answer, that is, the issue of air pollution in Delhi is much more severe as compared to other metropolitan cities in India. What are the factors responsible for such a situation, and also give suggestions to overcome this problem. So the second and third part we already have discussed in today's video. So try to answer this question, write a proper structured answer. That is all for this particular video. Thank you very much.